Boys and girls, we're going to review for our telling time test. This first one, if you notice on the side, they are both the same. There's two of the same times. However, AM and PM are next to each one, so that makes them different times of the day. So you need to be aware of that. You're going to figure out what time it is, and then you're going to pick which one fits best for the activity. So first I'm going to look at my hour hand. The hour hand is the shorter one. I have it in between the 2 and the 3. When it's in between the 2 and the 3, I know it's the 2 o'clock hour. So I'm going to write down 2. Next, I have to look at my minute hand. My minute hand is pointing at the 6. If I don't know if I don't know already that means 30, I can count by 5, starting with the 1. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It is 2:30. Now I have to look at the activity. It says that they are going fishing. Well, 2:30 a.m. I know I'm usually sleeping, and that would probably be not a very good time for fishing. So I can go ahead and cross off 2:30 a.m. I can also cross off 6:10 because I know that it's 2:30. 2:30 p.m. is in the day. It is in the middle of the afternoon, and that sounds like a good time to be fishing because you can see what you're doing. So I think D is the correct choice. This one again, I need to figure out which is the right time. Again, it has two sets of times for me that are the same except for the things that are labeled on the side. We have AM and AM, PM and AM. If these are both AM, I'm going to assume that's probably not one of those answers, but I'm going to double check just to make sure. First, I'm going to look at my hour hand. That's the shorter hand. I'm going to draw a line, and it shows me it's between the 9 and the 10. When it's between two numbers, I have to go back to the last number. So it is in the 9 o'clock hour. Now I have to look at my minute hand. Here's the minute hand. It's pointing all the way down to the 6. We just did one that said that it was the 30, but I'm going to go ahead and double check. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it is 9:30 on this clock. I can go ahead and cross out 6:45 because I know that my time says 9:30. Now I have to think about whether this is an AM time or a PM time. It says we went to the beach. I know that 9:30 a.m. is something that happens when it's light outside. I know that 9:30 p.m. is when I'm in bed. I just went to bed or I'm just going to bed. So if I'm going to the beach, I want to do that when it's light outside. Therefore, p.m. is not a good choice. a.m., 9:30 a.m. is the correct choice. 3 is just like the other two. Again, there's two sets of times for me to look at, except for the fact that they are a.m. and p.m. So first I'm going to tell the time. Right here, my hour hand, which is a shorter hand, I'm going to draw my line. It is almost to the 1, but not quite. I know when a number is almost there, but not quite, it's still going to be the hour before. So I know that this is going to be in the 12 o'clock hour. Now I have to figure out the minutes. Again, if I don't know, it's right now the minute hand is pointing at the 9. If I don't know automatically what that is, I can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I know it is 12:45 or 1:45. Now I can cross out my 9 a.m. and my 9 p.m. because those are not what the clock says. Now I have to think about what the person is doing. It says the person is eating lunch. I know that 12:45 a.m. happens in the middle of the night. 12 o'clock is the midnight. So I know that you're not going to eat lunch in the middle of the night at midnight. I'm sleeping in my bed. Therefore, 12:45 p.m. is the correct choice. 12 o'clock is noon. So therefore, that changes to p.m. We need to know that that is during the daytime. That is at noon. So 12:45 p.m. is the correct choice. Number 4 is just like the first 3. First, I'm going to look at, and I'm going to see, hey, I have 2 sets of times. The only thing that's different is AM and PM. So at first step is I need to look at what time it is. I'm going to look at the hour hand first. The hour hand is the shorter hand. This hour hand is in between the 4 and the 5. I know when it's in between that I have to go back to the previous hour. So this is the 4 o'clock hour. Now I have to look at my minute hand. My minute hand is pointing straight down. Hopefully by now you know if it's pointing straight down in the 6 that it's 30, but if not, you can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It is 4:30. Therefore, 6:25 a.m. and p.m. are not the correct answer. I can cross those out. Now I have to decide, when we go ice skating, what is the best time of day for that? Well, I know that 4:30 a.m. it's still dark outside and I'm still sleeping. Some people are starting to wake up, but most people are still sleeping at 4:30 a.m. So I know that that is probably not the best choice for ice skating. The ice skating rink probably isn't open until 8 a.m. So 4:30 p.m. is probably a better choice. It's still light outside. I'm still doing stuff. That's after school. So 4:30 p.m. is probably the best choice for ice skating. G. 5, 6, and 7 say read the time, then write the time. So I'm going to do that for 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to look at number 5. I always like to start with my hour hand. I know that's the short hand. My hour hand, if I draw a line to go a straight line, it shows me between the 6 and the 7. I know when it's between 2 numbers that I'm going back to the previous time, so that would be the 6 o'clock hour. Now I have my minute hand is pointing to the 5. I'm going to count by 5s to figure out the time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Therefore, it is 6:25. Number 6. I'm going to start with my hour hand, the shorter hand. I'm going to draw a line to see where it lays. It goes in between the 1 and the 2. I know when the hour hand is pointing in between 2 numbers, I need to go back to the previous hour. So therefore, I'm going to the 1 o'clock hour. Now I have to count by 10s to find out where my minute hand lies. 10, 5, 10. My time is 1:10 on that clock. Now this bottom one, number 7, you'll notice that it didn't have the lines written for you. It just cut it off, so you can write them in just like that if it helps you. Again, I'm going to start with my hour hand. The hour hand is always the shorter hand. I'm going to draw this line as straight as I can, and I notice that it doesn't quite get to this line right here. So that means it is in between the 12 and the 1, just barely. I know I look at my minute hand, it's not quite to the 12 yet, so I know I need to go back to the hour before, which is the 12 o'clock hour. Now I can count by 5s to get to my minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Therefore, it is 12:50 on the clock. That's exactly how I want you to do it on the test. First, choose what hour it is, then write the minute, count by 5s and write the minutes. Number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 are all ones where we have to write the minute hand. It says read the time, then draw the minute hand to show the time. The first one says 7:40. They've already put the hour hand in between the 8 and the 7, the shorter hand. I know my minute hand needs to be longer, so I'm going to count by 5s to find the 40 time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I know I need to point my minute hand to the 8. I'm going to start at the dot and I'm going to draw my hand all the way to the 8. I'm going to make sure that it is longer than the hour hand so that I know that that is pointing to the right time and showing the minutes. Number 9 says 2:20. They've already put the hour hand for me. I'm just looking for where I need to put the minute hand. The minute hand I need to put at 20. I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. I know I have to point my minute hand at the 4. So I'm going to draw my minute hand, and again, the minute hand is longer, so I'm going to draw all the way past the 4. Number 10 says 11:35. They've already put the hour hand between the 12 and the 11, so I need to draw the minutes. The minutes are 35 minutes. I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I know I need to draw my minute hand to the 7. I know my minute hand needs to be longer than my hour hand, so I'm going to draw the minute hand all the way to the 7. For 11, 12, and 13, it's the same as what we just did. They've already given us the hour at the 8, so it's in between the 8 and the 9 for the hour hand. The minute hand is going to need to show 15. Again, I have to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. My minute hand needs to point to the 3, and it needs to be longer than my hour hand. Number 12, 4:50. They've already done the hours. I need to write 50 on the clock. I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I know my minute hand is going to have to point to the 10. Again, my minute hand has to be longer than my hour hand, so I'm going to point it all the way to the 10. The last one is 12:25. They've already done the hour hand. I just need to find 25 minutes. Again, I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 is at the 5, so my minute hand needs to go all the way to the 5 so that it is longer than the hour hand. Okay, on this one, I need to still tell the time, but I need to use the terms quarter past, half past, or quarter till. First, I need to figure out what time it is on the clock. The hour hand is between the 3 and the 4, so it is the 3 o'clock hour. The minute hand is pointing all the way to the 9. If I know my time really well, I know that that means 45. If I look at this clock and cut it into fourths, I see that the minute hand has gone all the way through 3/4 of the clock. I only have 1/4 to go. Therefore, I have 1/4 till 4 o'clock. So quarter past 3 doesn't work because that would be pointing over to the 3 on the other side. A quarter past till 3 doesn't work because we're almost to the 4 o'clock hour. A quarter past 4 doesn't work because I haven't gotten to the 4 o'clock hour yet. So a quarter till 4 is the best choice. Number 15, I need to do the same thing. My hour hand is between the 7 and the 8, therefore I notice the 7 o'clock hour. My minute hand is pointing all the way to the 6. I know that that is 30 minutes. If I cut my clock into fourths, I have 1/4 and another 4th covering up half the clock that my minute hand has already traveled. Therefore, I know it is half past. I can cross off a quarter till and a quarter past. Now, I know that I am in the 7 o'clock hour, so I know that it is going to be 7:30, not 6:30. Amber's family went biking at 1:15. They biked for 1 hour. Then they stopped to play at a park for 2 hours. What time did they finish playing? So I know that they started at 1:15. I have to count 1 hour because that's when they stopped riding their bike. Then I have to count 2 more hours because they played for those 2 hours and they want to know when they finished playing, not while they're playing. So I know if I counted on my clock, 1:15 plus 1 more hour would be 2:15. 2:15 plus 2 more hours, 2:15, 3:15, 4:15. Therefore, they stopped at 4:15. Now I have to look at my answer choices. If I drew 4:15 on a clock, I know that the minute hand would be pointing to the 3, and the hour hand would be pointing in between the 4 and the 5. That means I've gone a quarter of the way around the clock, so it's a quarter past. And we are in the 4 o'clock hour, so I know it's going to be a quarter past 4. So the answer to number 16 is a quarter past 4. The time that they stopped was 4:15. 4:15 shows quarter past. So that's why it's a quarter past 4. 17 is our last one. It says Carson is at home. He is going swimming at 2:45. He has to wait for 4 hours. What time is it now? So I have 2:45 is the time that he will start. That means I need to count backwards by 4 hours. So 2:45, 1:45, 12:45, 11:45, 10:45. So 10:45 is the time that it is now. Now I have to figure out where that would be on a clock. I know that if I draw a semi-clock and I cut it into fourths, that the 45 is over here. That means I've gone 3/4 and there's only a quarter left to go. So I know I'm going to have to say a quarter till. So I can cross off the ones that say quarter past because I don't have quarter past. I have only a quarter left to go on the clock. Now, I know it's the 10:45 hour. So the next hour it's going to be is 11. So quarter till 11 is the best choice because the clock is almost going to be at 11 o'clock. It's got only a quarter left to go till the 11 o'clock hour. So the best choice is F.